Good day, everyone. For our video presentation, the Group 6 will be delving into a topic entitled The Role and Functions of Government Banks, Islamic Banks, and Universal Banks. Joining me in this discussion are my fellow group members, Ms. Aliana Carillo, Ms. Juliet Lucina, and Ms. Helen Joy Prieto. So to formally begin with, allow me to start with our intended learning outcomes. Discuss the government banks in the Philippines, LBP, DBP, Amana Islamic Bank. Describe the history and corporate profile of the given government banks in the Philippines. Explain the major roles, purpose, objectives, functions, and guiding principles in Islamic banking. Determine the services offered and performances of the government banks for the last 3 years. First and foremost, here is a quick overview of the Land Bank. The Land Bank of the Philippines is a government-owned financial institution established in August 8 of 1963 under the Republic Act number 3844, or also known as the Agricultural Land Reform Code. Its establishment was rooted in the need to address the challenges faced by the agricultural sector and rural communities in the Philippines. In other words, isa sa mga primary objectives in regards to its establishment is para makapag-provide ng financial support at mga credit facilities for our farmers, agrarian reform beneficiaries at rural households na engage in terms of agriculture back then. When it comes to agrarian reform naman, during its early years, Land Bank actually was focusing on providing funds for land acquisition and agricultural production to support the government's agrarian reform initiatives. With that being said, naging way ito for our farmers to have their well-deserved equal land distribution and ownership, most particularly on rural areas. So over the years, Land Bank has also took part when it comes to various development projects, katulad na lang ng mga infrastructure initiatives here in the Philippines. That includes roads and highways, bridges and mga overpass, and projects involving water supply and sanitation. Aside from that, nagkaroon din ng major involvement ang Land Bank in terms of environmental conservation programs, mga social services, and community development projects. It also has collaborated with government agencies and LGUs to implement more national projects. So, the Land Bank of the Philippines is governed by a board of trustees composed of individuals appointed by the President of the Philippines. The board of trustees is responsible for providing strategic direction, overseeing the bank's operations, and ensuring that it fulfills its mandate effectively and efficiently. Here we have the chairman of the board, which plays a very important role in leading the board of trustees. The chairman presides over meetings and of course, ito mismo ang representative ng Land Bank when it comes to external engagements. Next, we have the certain member elected by the holder of preferred shares in the board of trustees. So this member is elected by preferred shareholders through a voting process. So basically, yung appointment nila to the Board of Trustees is nagre-reflect sa transparency, commitment, and accountability ng Land Bank. Next is what we call the Head of Land Authority, or now what we call Department of Agrarian Reform. Itong individual in charge naman ang representative ng government agency na responsible for agrarian reform and land-related matters. Ito din yung sole focus and priority ng Land Bank upon supporting agricultural development and rural communities. Land Bank, as of now, also has an increased capitalization up to 3 billion. It is made up of 7 directors, the chairman being the Secretary of Finance, vice chairman or the president of Land Bank of the Philippines, secretary of Agrarian Reform, secretary of Labor, and 3 members of the board elected annually. So back in 1977, the Land Bank of the Philippines underwent a significant reorganization aimed at expanding its operations and strengthening its role in supporting agricultural development in the Philippines. So basically, yung naging purpose ng reorganization na to is for the government as well to get involved sa pag-reform ng financial sector ng Philippines and to promote inclusive growth. Land Bank plays an important role in providing assistance to landowners through investment information and counseling assistance. Nag-o-offer ang institution ng investment and advisory services sa landowners to help them in terms of decision making, money matters when it comes to financial assets and investment opportunities. Nagpo-provide din sila as well ng guidance on different investment options katulad na lang ng government securities, mutual funds, and more. When it comes to financial counseling, however, it involves assessing the financial situations of landowners. The land bank counselors also offer advices in terms of budgeting, savings, and even debt management para makapag-empower pa ng landowners to make financial decisions on their own. The conversion or exchange of land bank ARBs naman into government stocks or other financial assets typically involves a process governed by regulations. So here, kakailanganin pa ng landowners na makipag-coordinate with land bank or other financial institutions to initiate the conversion process, which may involve submitting documentation and complying with applicable regulations. The implementing agency of the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program or CARP involve in land evaluation, compensation to owners of private agricultural lands, and collection of amortizations from CARP. Farmer beneficiaries is the Department of Agrarian Reform or DAR. The DAR is the lead government agency tasked with the implementation of CARP, which aims to promote social justice, to reduce poverty, and achieve equitable distribution of agricultural land to landless farmers and farm workers. As part of its mandate, the DAR carries out various functions related to land acquisition and distribution, agrarian reform beneficiary selection, land valuation, and support services to agrarian reform beneficiaries. Another thing is also provision of credit assistance to small farmers and fisher folks and ARBs. An official depository of government funds and government bank with a social mandate to spur countryside development. So the purpose of the Land Bank of the Philippines is, of course, to serve as a government financial institution that strikes a balance between fulfilling its social mandate of promoting countryside development and remaining financially viable. Itong purpose na to, kumbaga, in other words, is a reflection kung paano maging committed ang Land Bank when it comes to advancing rural development and sustainable agriculture here in the Philippines, while also at the same time ensuring its long-term financial sustainability and viability. So that's it for my part. Thank you.
Next is the Development Bank of the Philippines. Next. It provides financial assistance to key industries and sectors established in 1947. The DBP has been instrumental in supporting infrastructure projects, small and medium enterprises, and other priority sectors that drive economic growth. Next. The timeline. The Development Bank of the Philippines was established in 1935 under Commonwealth Act 785 with the aim of promoting and expanding the national economy through long-term investments in its early years. The bank focused on providing financial assistance to agricultural, industrial, and infrastructure projects that were crucial for the country's development. Throughout the years, BBP continued to evolve and adapt to the changing economy landscape of the Philippines. In 1972, the bank was reorganized and become a fully government-owned financial institution, solidifying its commitment to supporting the growth and process of the nation. Next. As of today, with its focus on promoting sustainable development and inclusive growth, the DBP has implemented various programs and initiatives to support micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as infrastructure projects that benefit communities across the country. Additionally, the bank has adapted to the changing financial landscape by embracing digital technology and innovation to better serve its clients and stakeholders. Next. Next. Major roles and its purpose. Primarily, ang purpose is to help facilitate long-term investments and will contribute to the growth of the economy and improve the quality of life for Filipinos. As government-owned financial institution, the DBP also works towards promoting inclusive growth by supporting small and medium enterprises, which are considered the backbone of the Philippine economy. Besides the services offered by the Development Bank of the Philippines, deposit products and cash services, trade products and services, treasury products and services.
Wait. So for the next topic is Amana Islamic Bank. So first, Amana Islamic Bank is typically refers to a financial institution that operates based on Islamic principles and Sharia law. In Islamic finance, the concept of Amana represents trustworthiness and integrity. So Al-Amana Islamic Investment Bank or AAIB is the only bank in the Philippines authorized to offer Islamic banking, and it also licensed to do both commercial and investment banking service similar to Universal Bank. So the history of Amana Islamic Bank is in 1972, the President Decree number 264 by President Ferdinand E. Marcos created the Amana Islamic Bank with an initial capitalization of 100 million pesos. And it's intended to become a development bank, and it invested 75% of its total loanable funds on providing, among others, reasonable medium and long-term credit facilities for the people of Muslim-dominated province in Cotabato, South Cotabato, Lanao del Sur, Lanao del Norte, Sulu, Basilan, Tawi-Tawi, Zamboanga del Norte, Zamboanga del Sur, and Palawan, where there are large population of Muslims. So next. So in 1974, the Presidential Decree number 542, allowing it opened branches in Maguindanao and Sultan Kudarat, and retoned and the direction of the bank to adopt the no-interest principle in Islamic banking and partnership principles. So the bank was rechartered in 1989, capitalized pursuant to Republic Act number 6848. So in 1990, the bank became a universal bank through enactment of Republic Act number 6848, otherwise known as the Charter of Al-Amana Islamic Investment Bank of the Philippines or AAIIBP, with an authorized capital stock of 1 billion consisting of 10 million common shares. So next po. So in mid-1990, Three of its branches, Cotabato, Marawi, and Julu, began accepting and transforming ordinary deposits into Islamic deposits, and the other branches have been transacting both conventional and Islamic banking products, service, and facilities. So the bank was sold to another government-owned bank, the Development Bank of the Philippines, in 2008. And however, in 2012, the Development Bank of the Philippines announced its intended divest itself on the bank since it does not have the expertise to handle an Islamic financial institution. So the bank today, or the Al-Amana Islamic Investment Bank of the Philippines, AAI-IBP, is a universal bank authorized to perform and provide Islamic banking, financing, and investment service pursuant to RA 6848. So in additional to the history of Al-Amana Islamic Bank, so in 1990 to 2007, the Al-Amana Islamic Investment Bank of the Philippines managed its operation with the support of Bureau of Treasury. And in 2015, the Al-Amana opened its first branch outside of Mindanao, the southern island region of the Philippines, where it is primarily located. The new branch was opened in Malabon, a city in the northern part of Metro Manila. In 2006, Al-Amana was granted a license to offer electronic banking services by the BSP. This allowed the bank to expand its reach beyond its physical branches and offer services such as online banking and mobile banking. And in 2018, Al-Amana introduced its Islamic Pawn Shop, offering financing to customers through the application of Islamic pawnbroking principles. And the main focus of the pawn shop is to address the needs of customers who require short-term financing option while avoiding interest-based transaction. So the Al-Amana Bank entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Department of Education in 2019 to provide financial literacy programs to public school students. The objective of the program is to promote financial inclusion and enhance the students' knowledge and the fundamentals of banking and finance. So the next po. So the major rules of Al-Amana Islamic Bank is committed to protect and respect your privacy to ensure that you continue to trust the bank with your personal information, to adapt and observe appropriate standards, its implementing rules and regulation, IRR, issuance, and other relevant laws of the Philippines. Next po. And the purpose of Al-Amana is in Muraba, for working capital, for acquisition of fixed assets, machineries, and equipment for business use. And Ijara, for acquisition of all types of machinery and equipment used for business. So the purpose of Amana Islamic Bank now is to be leading in and choice Islamic financial institution providing alternative banking service in response to the emerging global Islamic markets and to promote and accelerate the socio-economic developments of the Islamic communities in the Philippines by 2022. And the objectives of Al-Amana Islamic Bank is to promote and accelerate the socio-economic development of the autonomous region and to establish and participate in agricultural, commercial, and industrial venture based on the Islamic concept of banking. Next po. And the function of Al-Amana is all the assets, liabilities, and capital amount of the Philippines, Amana Bank are hereby transferred to the Al-Amana Islamic Investment Bank. Next po. So that's all for my part.
The last topic we have here is Islamic banking. So known as non-interest banking is a system based on the principles of Islamic or Sharia law and guided by Islamic economics. Financial transactions within Islamic banking are culturally distinct form of ethical investing. Investing involving alcohol, gambling, pork, and other forbidden items is prohibited. So dito sa Islamic banking, hindi sila pwedeng mag-charge ng interest since they are using non-interest banking system, which is nakabase sa tinatawag nilang Islamic or Sharia law. Sa law na to, hindi sila pwedeng tumanggap ng payment or acceptance of interest para sa mga lend and investments. Meron din silang principle na pinagbabawal nila yung mga investments sa mga businesses na involve yung mga illegal activities. Hindi naman illegal, basta unethical siya, such as alcohol, gambling, tabako, at iba pang mga forbidden things sa kanila. Next slide, please. So next is principles of Islamic banking. First is sharing of profit and loss. And next one is prohibition of the collection and payment of interest by lenders and investors. First is sa sharing of profit and loss. Dito, merong partnership between the capital provider and the entrepreneur. Yung sa capital provider, sila yung nag-i-invest ng funds at yung entrepreneur naman, yun yung nagmamanage ng business activities. Tapos kapag may profit na sila, yung sa business nila, naghahati sila according to their agreed ratio. Pero kapag may losses naman, yung capital provider lang yung nag-shoulder. Another principle is prohibition of the collection and payment of interest by lenders and investors. Dito naman, as what I've said earlier, yung mga lenders and investors, hindi sila pwedeng mag-charge or tumanggap ng interest sa mga loans and investments. Instead, nagre-rely sila sa profit sharing na align naman sa Islamic principles nila. Next slide, please. Next is the history of Islamic banking. So, Islamic banking, nagsimula sila nung 7th century pa, which is the beginning of Islam. Nagsimula siya sa wife ni Prophet Muhammad na si Khadija, na isang merchant that time. So, si Muhammad, siya yung nag-act as agent sa business ng wife niya, which is a caravan trader. Ito yung tinatransport nila yung goods sa mga malalayong lugar para mabenta. So dito, ginamit na nila yung Islamic banking and the Islamic principles. At ito na rin yung ginamit nilang banking system during the Middle Ages, in which trade and business activities are done by Muslims. Hanggang sa kumalat na yung paggamit nila ng Islamic principles throughout Spain, Mediterranean, and Baltic states. Hanggang ngayon sa modern world, meron pa rin Islamic banking usually sa mga Muslim countries like Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Pakistan, and many more. Next slide, please. So, Islamic banking, how Islamic banks make a profit. So, paano nga ba sila kumikita kung hindi naman sila nagpapataw ng interest? So, meron silang tinatawag na equity participation na ginagamit nila to make profit. First is yung profit and loss sharing, which is yung sinabi ko na nag-i-invest yung capital provider sa entrepreneur at kapag meron ng profit, naghahati na sila based sa agreed ratio nila. Another is meron din silang partnership in which they form partnership with clients para mag-finance ng mga projects or investments at kapag may profit na, hati ulit sila that reflects based on their contribution and level of risk taken. So that's all for our report today. Thank you so much for listening.